Special Agent, this is week 6. It has only been a few days since the Martin family killings, and we already have another communication from the math problem killer. I have never seen this tempo or murder rate before in my entire career. Something is not right. But I don't want you thinking about that right now. I need you focused on this rescue mission. In the suspect's communication, he indicates he is holding a hostage named Marissa Silva at an abandoned construction site at 383 Oakwood Terrace. Unlike the previous victims, there was a very recent police report filed for the Silvas. Apparently, the Silvas were supposed to meet up with their neighbors. When they didn't show, the neighbors went to investigate and found the mother, grandmother, and teenagers butchered and hanging in their house. They immediately called the police. There was no sign of the father or Marissa, although the report indicates that she did not live at the Silva house. Your primary objective is the safe release of Marissa Silva. Remember, you are facing a highly dangerous serial killer. The suspect's cunning nature demands critical thinking and an analytical approach from you. Marissa Silva's life hangs in the balance. All right, Agent. Stay focused, stay sharp, and get Marissa Silva out alive. Good luck.
Hello there, Special Agent. I first saw Marissa Silva playing soccer at Washington Park on 54th Street. It was Saturday at 11 a.m. I watched her play for an hour. She was 23. She had firm legs and was wearing very small shorts. Her hair was in a ponytail. I knew she was going to be my next plaything. Let's start with something even a stupid task force special agent can solve. You will multiply the first number of the street of the park with the sum of the time I first started watching Marissa and Marissa's age. The answer will be variable A. I want you to add the first number of Yolanda's age to the second number of Yolanda's age. Then multiply by the second number of Kellyanne's age. Then multiply by the amount of time I followed them home to their apartment. The answer is variable B. If you want to open door number 1, Special Agent, you must add variable A and variable B, then multiply by the second number in Marissa's age, and then add variable C. Oh, did I speak too fast for you, Special Agent? Well, too bad. And if you make one mistake, you will burn Marissa Silva alive. This is Kellyanne Swiler, 22, and Yolanda Martinez, 24. I saw them talking to my Marissa. I couldn't have any of that. After the match, I followed them 30 minutes home to their apartment. As they lay on their couches, I kicked in the door and threw them on the ground. I made them tell me where Marissa lives. And then I played with them for 3 hours before they couldn't take any more. I want you to start with the time I started watching Marissa at the park, then multiply by the amount of time I followed Kellyanne and Yolanda home. You then subtract the number of hours I played with Kellyanne and Yolanda. Finally, you multiply your answer by Kellyanne's age. The final answer will be variable C. They were such lovely girls. It's a pity they screamed so much in the end. my delicious time with Kellyanne and Yolanda. They told me that Marissa lives at Waypoint Apartments at 35th Street, apartment number 405, and has a roommate named Sophia, age 25. I decided to visit the girls. Let's keep a tally of my little adventure for Marissa, shall we, Special Agent? There was Kellyanne and Yolanda, and now Sophia, and we are not even done yet. If you want to open door number 2, I want you to add variable A to variable B, and then subtract Sophia's age. Oh, poor sweet little Sophia. I want you to start by multiplying Sophia's age by the amount of time it took me to reach the apartment. Then add the street number of the apartment, and then multiply by the third number of the apartment number. Is that too complicated for you, Special Agent? The answer will be variable A. Why don't you start with the amount of time I watched Sophia? Then multiply that by the amount of times I knocked on the door. Then multiply that by the amount of hours I spent with Sophia. Then subtract the first number of her apartment. The answer will be variable B. It took me 46 minutes to reach their apartment. I climbed the stairs and I looked inside. Marissa wasn't home, but Sophia was. I thought about leaving, but then I watched Sophia for 17 minutes. She was beautiful. Not as beautiful as my Marissa, but close. She had soft, buttery skin. I knocked 4 times on the door, and when Sophia opened it ever so slightly, I kicked it open, and I began to play. After I spent 4 hours with the lovely Sophia, I looked around the apartment, and I found photos of Marissa's family. They were a beautiful family. I would expect nothing less from my Marissa. I asked Sophia where they lived. She just begged me to stop. I looked in her beautiful eyes and I told her if she told me what I wanted to know, I would end her misery. And so she told me where they lived. And I ended Sophia's misery. Look to your left, Special Agent. The code to open that door is variable A added to the sum of Roberto and Romano's ages. That seems pretty simple, doesn't it, Special Agent? You know what? You're right. Let's have a little fun, shall we? If that answer is an even number, then you must subtract Marissa's age. If that is an odd number, you must add Marissa's age. Think carefully, Special Agent. One wrong answer, and Marissa burns alive. It took me 46 seconds to enter the house and find Marissa's little brothers, Roberto and Romano Silva, lying on the couch, half asleep. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen, and in another 53 seconds, I slit both Roberto and Romano's throats. I then hung them upside down in their living room, with rope I found in the garage. The whole affair took me 6 minutes. Pretty impressive, Wouldn't you say, Special Agent? It was 11 p.m. when I left Sophia's apartment. I had to say hello to the family. They had made such a beautiful daughter. It took me 72 minutes to reach their house at 85467 West Brookings. When I arrived, Marissa's father was in the garage. I dealt with him, and we'll talk about him later. I then saw two young men who looked like Marissa's brothers, Robert, age 13, and Romano, age 15, asleep in the living room. They would be first. I want you to add the number of nails I used on Marissa's grandmother. Then multiply that by the number of seconds it took me to slit both of Roberto and Romano's throats. Then subtract the time I left Sophia's apartment. The answer will be variable A. I went upstairs and found Marissa's mother and grandmother. They were awake. They saw me. The mother screamed, but the grandmother fought. It was easy to put both of them on the ground. As I started to duct tape them, the mother kept screaming for me to stop, but the grandmother fought to the bitter end. I went down to their garage and found a nail gun. I came back to the bedroom and put 56 nails inside the grandmother. Now it was just me and Marissa's mother. I took my time. Let me introduce you to Marissa's father, Derek. He is 58 years old, retired, and enjoys working on his car at night with the garage door open. It was easy to walk up behind him with a rag full of chloroform and drop him to the ground. It was 1 a.m. Let me ask you this, Special Agent. Can you imagine what it must be like to be tied to a chair and forced to watch as a madman takes your screaming daughter into a room that has a scary face painted on the room's door? And the door slams and all you hear is your daughter's screams? Well, Derek Silva does not have to wonder. Derek Silva knows what that is like. Alright, enough about Derek. In front of you, there are two rooms. The room to the right is room X. The room to the left is room Y. The code to open the final door is X plus Y. Look at this wall, Special Agent. Do you see what it says? You will never catch me. Do you get that? Do you understand that no matter what you do, I will be back next week? This is already the 6th week, and you are no closer to catching me than you were last week. You and your task force are pathetic. You will never catch me. After visiting Kellyanne's family, I went to Yolanda Martinez's parents' home at 4874 East Bluefin Road. It wasn't quite the happy home that Kellyanne had. It was dirty and rough, surrounded by the sounds of constant yelling and sirens, dogs barking, and bottles being broken. It was the kind of neighborhood that a person could walk inside a home at 4 a.m., grab a knife in the kitchen and slit the throat of the 53-year-old man in the Lazy Boy. It was the kind of neighborhood where that same person could grab the 51-year-old's screaming wife, slam her to the ground, and slit her throat. It was the kind of neighborhood where the person could walk to the back room where the girls were and take his time for the next 3 hours. It was the kind of neighborhood that that person could do all of that, and no one would notice, and no one would care. Camilla, 19, and Isabella, 20, were in the back room. I want you to add their ages together, then add the time I arrived at the house. Then multiply the time I spent with the girls, then add the age of the screaming wife. Your answer will be variable X. Do you remember Kellyanne and Yolanda from earlier? During our time together, I made them tell me where their parents lived. They were lovely girls. I wanted to say hi to the family and tell them that the girls would not be coming home. Kellyanne's parents lived at 24323 West Yellow Road. Kellyanne had 2 sisters, Rachel, aged 11, and Caroline, aged 14. I went straight there from the Silva's house. It was 2 a.m. Oh, and one more thing, Special Agent. Variable A plus variable B equals variable Y. You must next add the first number of the house address and the last number of the house address, and multiply the sum by the third number of the house address. You then multiply your answer by Rachel's age. This is variable B. I want you to start with Marissa's age, then multiply it by the sum of Rachel and Caroline's age. Then multiply that by the first number of the house address. Your answer will be variable A. I want you to multiply Kellyanne's age by Sophia's age, and then add Yolanda's age. Subtract the amount of time I spent with Kellyanne and Yolanda. Your answer is variable A. I want you to multiply Roberto's age by the amount of nails I used on his grandmother. Then add the amount of minutes it took me to kill both Roberto and Romano and hang them upside down in the living room. Your answer will be variable B. I want you to add Rachel and Caroline's ages to the first time I saw Marissa at the park. Then add the amount of time I watched her at that park. Oh, she was so lovely. The answer is variable C. Do you want to know what the lesson to all of this is, Special Agent? Math is your freedom. Math is your salvation. Get the math question right, and Marissa survives. She can leave this horrible nightmare and go skipping into the sun, buying a breakfast burrito, smelling roses, whatever. Or you can get the math wrong. and Marissa is burned to death by hydrofluoric acid. So we're going to let simple math decide Marissa's fate. Add variable A to variable B, and then add variable C. Enter your code into the keypad. Get it right, Marissa's nightmare ends. Get it wrong, and she burns.
Alright everyone, let's get this meeting started. I first want to congratulate the special agent that entered this facility. During the hostage rescue operation, the special agent demonstrated quick thinking, strategic acumen, and an unwavering composure that resulted in the safe extraction of Marissa Silva. This exemplary performance under pressure is reflective of the high level of professionalism and training within our task force. Outstanding work. Alright, next on the agenda, we are observing several disturbing trends. First, the math problem killer is able to find, track, abduct, and torture a victim each week. And secondly, each week the volume of abductions is increasing. This high volume of activity is suggestive that the math problem killer is using accomplices. He is not working alone. The scale and complexity of the attacks witnessed thus far exceeds what can be accomplished by a lone individual. I find it highly unlikely that one individual is able to accomplish what the math killer can do by himself. This is extremely troubling. But the math problem killer is not alone. It is crucial that we remain vigilant and consider the possibility of a network supporting the math problem killer. I want the task force to explore potential connections, affiliations, collaboration among individuals who may be aiding the suspect. Okay, everyone. Now, instead of hunting one murderer, we are hunting several. Let's stay focused and get back to work.
So